I'm Molly Gambhir. Cutting straight across to these live visuals coming in of Saudi Arabian Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, whose aircraft has just touched down in India. The Crown Prince will be in India for a two-day visit. His visit is extremely significant politically as well. It's coming days after the Pulwama terror attack in which India's Central Reserve Police Force personnel were killed after an explosives-laden truck had rammed into one of the buses that were travelling in when they were on their way from Jammu to Srinagar. Hence, counter-terrorism is expected to also top the agenda as far as that visit is concerned. Remember, the Crown Prince visited Pakistan over the last few hours. There has been a lot of speculation over the steps that India has been pushing for Pakistan to take when it comes to terrorism. But besides politics, India imports 1/5 of its oil from Saudi Arabia. In fact, Saudi Arabia is India's fourth largest trade partner. In FY18 itself, bilateral trade between India and Saudi Arabia came in at $28 billion. So that's how significant the ties between the two nations are. There are also nearly 30 lakh Indians living in the country. That makes the visit all the more crucial. Saudi Arabia is also planning to invest heavily in India. Remember, Saudi Arabia's oil giant Saudi Aramco and UAE's Abu Dhabi National Oil Company have both signaled an interest to invest nearly $44 billion in a refinery plant in Maharashtra. The Crown Prince will engage with Prime Minister Narendra Modi in delegation-level talks tomorrow. A lot on agenda, but the timing of this visit is extremely significant, is equally crucial as the agenda, given the fact that it's coming just days after the horrific Pulwama terror attack in which terrorists from the Pakistan-based Jaish-e-Mohammed had targeted a bus in which India's Central Reserve Police Force personnel were travelling. It's of course a big push for the India-Saudi relationship. It's the first time that the Saudi Crown Prince is visiting India. Let's also get in further details from our principal diplomatic correspondent, Siddhant Sibul, who's been tracking the very latest. Siddhant, we have been discussing how significant the relationship between the two nations is. Also speaking a little bit more about the timing of the Crown Prince's visit, coming just days after the Pulwama terror attack. A lot of emphasis has been laid on India pushing forth its counter-terrorism agenda and Saudi Arabia also finding common ground on that front with India.
Well, of course, Molly, the long shadow of Pulwama will be there in this visit. Before him, the Argentinian president was in Delhi on Monday, and we saw how the Indian Prime Minister and the Argentinian president both condemned the attack and called on G20 countries to take terror as a serious issue, and also the Hamburg Declaration on Terror, the 11-point agenda which India proposed way back in 2017. But talking about the visit of the Saudi Arabian Crown Prince, terror remains the focus undoubtedly, given the fact that the Saudi Arabian Crown Prince was in Pakistan one day ago for 2 days on Sunday and Monday, and we saw the joint statement in which we know that it was written that the Crown Prince praised Imran Khan for Kartarpur, for the dialogue, and of course said that there should not be any politicization of the United Nations terror list, which has been the focus of India, especially after the Pulwama attack, because the Pulwama attack has the responsibility of the attack has been taken by Jaish-e-Mohammed, the chief of which is Masood Azhar. India has since 2016 tried to list Masood Azhar as an international terrorist, but we know China is blocking. But this time when the Saudi Arabian Crown Prince will be coming, India will be clearly telling him, when the Indian Prime Minister and the Saudi Arabian Crown Prince sit together, that it's time that Riyadh puts pressure on Pakistan, because we know Saudi Arabia and Pakistan have been traditional allies, and now pressure will also be on Riyadh from the Indian side that it's time that Saudi Arabia tightens the purse string when it comes to Islamabad. We know during the visit, the Saudi Arabian leadership announced a $20 billion investment in the country. We have been speaking to authorities here in New Delhi who have been clearly taking a swipe at it and dismissing it, saying that when they invest, when anyone, whether it's the Saudi Arabians or anyone, invest here in India, they invest in a robust economy, but when they invest in Pakistan, it's a bailout. That's a big swipe, but we will get to know all the details only after the joint statement is released anytime after 3 p.m. Local time here in New Delhi tomorrow, because Wednesday is the main day of engagement. Starts with the normal ceremonial welcome at the Hyderabad House, and then of course continues as the day progresses, or when we know that there will be bilateral meeting and the press statements made by both the leadership. But the press statements will be something that both the sides will be keen to watch, because terror remains the dominating agenda, with New Delhi trying for complete diplomatic isolation of Pakistan. And the only thing that is stopping of the complete diplomatic isolation, one of course is China, omnipresent China. China is one country that has been the only ally of Pakistan, and it took time in condemning the attack, we all know. And of course Saudi Arabia, because of the purse strings, because of the bailout, Saudi Arabia has been announced, and Riyadh is now considers India as a strategic partner, and as a strategic partner, New Delhi will be clearly telling that if you consider a strategic partner, it's time you put pressure on Islamabad.
Right, stay with me, Siddhant. Just a quick backgrounder for those who might just be tuning in. This is an extremely significant, crucial visit of Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman to India, whose aircraft has touched down in New Delhi. This is a historic visit also. The timing here, as we've been discussing all this while, being equally significant, coming just days after the horrific Pulwama terror attack, in which the Indian CRPF, or the Central Reserve Police Force personnel, were targeted by an explosives-laden truck. They were traveling on the Jammu-Srinagar highway when one of their buses in that convoy came under attack. The Pakistan-based terror outfit Jaish-e-Mohammed had claimed responsibility, and the Saudi Arabian Crown Prince has visited Pakistan right before he visited New Delhi. But India had also raised its concerns over the Crown Prince directly reaching India from Pakistan. So I had requested for the Crown Prince to make that visit via Riyadh. That is how strong India's apprehensions over any furtherance of the contact with Pakistan is. Given the significance of the timing of this visit, we have been talking about how India has been firm on its demand for Pakistan to eliminate the terror that's been emanating from its soil. A strongly worded statement that was also issued by the Indian authorities today, just a short while back, lashing out at Pakistan, which remains defiant and continues with its deniability as far as the Pulwama terror attack is concerned. But just to also speak a little bit more about the relationship between Saudi Arabia and India, bilateral trade is of a whopping $28 billion in FY18 itself. Nearly 30 lakh Indians living in the country. Besides all of this, India also importing 1/5 of its oil from Saudi Arabia. In fact, Saudi Arabia is India's fourth largest trade partner. That's how significant and crucial the relationship between the two countries is. Saudi Arabia is in fact also planning to invest heavily in India. Remember, Saudi Arabia's oil giant Saudi Aramco and UAE's Abu Dhabi National Oil Company have both signaled an interest to invest nearly $44 billion in a refinery plant in Maharashtra. The Crown Prince has a hectic two-day visit scheduled. He will be engaging with the Prime Minister Narendra Modi in delegation-level talks tomorrow. So the prime chunk of his engagements would be taking place tomorrow. The next few hours, extremely crucial. A host of issues on agenda. But like we've been pointing out repeatedly, given that this visit is coming so close on the heels of the Pulwama terror attack, counter-terrorism is going to be one of the primary issues on the table. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi arriving at the airport to receive the Saudi Arabian Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. An extremely significant visit, as the relationship between Saudi Arabia and India runs deep on a host of factors, not just trade, not just the investment and convergence of mutual interests, but also the support that the Saudi Arabian regime has shown when it comes to issues that directly impact India. Counter-terrorism, as we've been discussing, will be one of the primary agendas on the table when the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman, engages in delegation-level talks with the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who is at the airport now to receive the Crown Prince. There we have visuals of the Saudi Arabian leadership, delegation members emerging from the aircraft. And the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman emerging from the aircraft, being received by the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. There we have a warm embrace between the two leaders, a sign of things to come as the two nations work towards solidifying and deepening relationships between the two sides on a host of issues. A warm exchange of smiles and embrace, just a prelude and a sign of things to come. Over the next few hours, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman, will be holding delegation-level talks with the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. A host of issues on agenda, multiple agreements that are all set to be inked, but also talking about how counter-terrorism will be one of the prime focus areas, given the significance of the timing of this visit coming just days after the Pulwama terror attack. Bilateral trade between India and Saudi Arabia is of a whopping $28 billion in FY18. Trade, investment, of course, oil, as India imports 1/5 of its oil from Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is India's fourth largest trade partner. There are nearly 30 lakh Indians living in the country. India importing 20% of its oil from Saudi Arabia. It's India's fourth largest trading partner. So that's the significance, just to summarize briefly, of that relationship, which runs extremely deep. And this visit, of course, aiming to solidify those ties and deepen the relationship on a host of issues. The Indian Prime Minister waiting by as the Saudi Arabian Crown Prince leaves from the airport. Over the next few hours, we'll have a number of issues being discussed between the two sides. The delegation-level talks to be held tomorrow. It's a jam-packed two-day visit for the Saudi Arabian Crown Prince.